Hello, Facebook world, and hello, TCI family, Jonathan's Refuge, all those at our Marysville Church. We love all y'all out there. For those that are watching out in Ghana, in our kingdom in Ghana, I love you all the way to Saipan and some of the islands in Indonesia and some crazy places around the globe that are beautiful, and we are making great strides in our church going around the globe. That's why we have an amazing bishop in our organization called Dr. Vance Whippo. Vance is one of my bishops, and he is my bishop at large because he is responsible for everybody outside of our U.S. He actually, ironically, just was invited as a dignitary to the UN. And he allowed, they asked if a bishop from our organization, he was the one asked, but he wanted to represent our organization. So it was because of him that he got it. And then he honored us, allowing us to be there. And so he brought recognition to our church globally again. Thank you, Dr. Vance. We love you. Let's get into the messages. I like to jump right into things. So what are we talking about? What's going on? Well, why is our Archbishop all tattooed up? Let me see which way my arms. See all these tats, and my shirt's unbuttoned. I got a Harley shirt on, ripped sides off, and got my old junker hat on with the greatest football team in America on it. You folks, listen. Oh, by the way, the politicians and all that whole thing. Every 4 years, you get to throw the last bum out and put a new bum in. I don't care if you like Trump or don't like Trump. If you don't like him, guess what? He's gone in 4 years. And if you love him, guess what? That's great. He's in for the next 4 years. That's what's beautiful about our country. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. I think most of you are both idiots. I'm an independent right in the middle. I like to sit and govern from the middle. So stop whining and crying. The elections are over. Let's move forward. And I'm going to start talking about change. We've been talking about changing and transforming. I've been dealing with some things in my personal life. And as I do, I like to talk about them and teach on them, because that's real leadership, is when you can show someone you're vulnerable and say, hey, guess what? Man, let me tell you, I'm going through some things. What? You? No way. You see, I grew up around bishops who on the outside were amazing. Everything was perfect. Great ministers, CEOs, presidents of the United States. 2 former presidents, let's be exact, that guess what? Had major problems in their marriages, had corruption problems in their companies, had affairs with people. Oh, no. You mean that the world's leaders have problems like you and me, Bob? Yeah, they do. And you got to change. And I have chosen, as the Archbishop of this group, to lead by example. So I'm going through some stuff, so I'm changing. One of the things I'm talking about tonight is the attitude of change. We've read the scripture about a famous man in the Bible. And if you're a Christian, in the Christian Bible, if you're a Jew, go to the Torah and open up and let's read the story. If you're a Muslim, you know the story. It's talked about in your holy scriptures. This is a story of how a young boy, a brother, was sentenced to death by his brothers. And Joseph was sold into slavery. Luckily, one of his brothers had the guts to say, hey, let's not kill our brother. It's our dad's favorite, but let's not kill him. Sell him into slavery. So they sold him. And then this innocent child goes off to Egypt, and he gets bought as a slave, and he went through all this change. And then he took a job, and then the master's wife, tried to have sex with him, and that didn't work. And then she said he raped him, and that was a lie. But then he went to prison for rape. And then now he's in prison, and he's a child molester. A sex offender. Get that? A sex offender. Whoa. What happens then? That's awkward. Now what does he do? He becomes Pharaoh's right-hand guy. He went through change. So this is the life I'm thinking of when I'm talking today in Scripture. So what is the change, and how do you deal with it? Well, first thing you got to do is it's going to be things that are uncomfortable. Now, I didn't dress nice. I didn't put on my normal fedora that you see with my nice clothing dressed up. Why? Because, well, I'm just me. Now, this is me. If you guys come over to the house and you come out, I got my Harley on the driveway. The hog's warming up and I'm driving it. And I got my Triumph out there, and that's never being driven. I'm always working on that. And don't tell that to the wife. She gets a little upset over that one. But, I'm always cleaning up the leaking oil of a 50-some-odd-year-old bike, right? 1970 Triumph Trophy. What is that? 54 years old that bike is. She's up there in age, okay? Got to take care of her. She's got some dents. She's got some dings. She's got some leaks. But just like my wife, I love her. The first lady's in the studio. She heard that. So I'm dressed like this, but is this appropriate dressing to go to the White House or the governor's mansion? Well, JB, you're not going to the White House. I've been there before, folks, to the Oval Office. So don't tell me I'm not going back to the White House, because I am going back to the White House. I am going to be invited there many times. But how about this year? I've been to the governor's office here in our state. Been to the governor's office last year. Should I show up like this? Well, yeah, JB, you got a hat on. Yeah, I kind of look like just a normal guy in the street who maybe goes down and has one or two or three beers. I'm not dressed like the archbishop of an international church. I'm not dressed like the chairman of one of the largest nonprofit private practice mental health practices in our entire county. I'm not dressed to meet the governor or the president like this, because it wouldn't be respectful. I would first need to run home, put on the proper hat, because I'm still a hat guy. I'd have to put on all my rings, because I don't care if I'm seeing the president or not. I definitely will have the rings. But I would put on a nice shirt. I'd put on my clerical collar or a tie or a bow tie and a suit. And I would dress up to show respect to the office that I'm going to. We teach men all the time to dress for success. In our organization, I see guys all the time and they dress like bums sometimes. And I encourage them, you need to dress up. You need to dress a little better. You got to dress a little better. Well, I don't want to dress a little better. Okay. And then I listen. After that is when I start to really pay attention, because then I hear a guy say what they think a good-looking gal is. And I like this one. They're like, ooh, that's a good-looking lady. Yeah? You think that's beautiful? Oh, man, I'd marry a woman like that. And I laugh loudly and I go, yeah. And they're like, what's funny? You thinking they would marry you? Because there ain't a chance in Hades that a woman like that is going to marry someone like this. And now you might go, whoa, Bishop, you just went way too far. No, you don't get it. I haven't even begun. Because if you want to attract garbage, then be garbage. If you want to attract kind people, be kind. If you're a jerk, you're going to attract what? Jerks. Like attracts like. If you have a bunch of people that are rude to you around, I learned this. I noticed that everyone on the freeway was a horrible driver. Until one day my sweet angel wife said, oh, sweetheart, is there any chance that you might be just as bad as them? And is there a possibility, I know this is stretching it, but is there a possibility that you might even be worse? And then she got out of the car and went off to do whatever she did. And she was smart to leave. Because I was like, shit, are you out of your mind, woman? I'm perfect on the freeway. I am the only person that obeys the law. So why am I sharing that? Because I know a bunch of you right now are going, ooh, BS. Yeah, it's uncomfortable. I don't feel comfortable talking about changing from the bum look to having to dress up. Why? Because it's respectful to the office. I take people all the time to trips around the state. When I take people to a private party, and this party is being put on by a friend of mine who's a multi-billionaire or a multi-millionaire, or a sweet lady who just loves our organization so much and wants to see the men come and visit her at her home. It doesn't matter which group, the big ones or the little ones. You will never find one of my men at Jonathan's Refuge coming to those places looking like a bum. They won't have holes in their pants. They won't have stains on. One of my favorite working men out there, Cam, I love you, bro. My guy comes home from work covered in gas oil because he's an American who works hard. And he just gets dirty more than anybody I know. But that young man doesn't come over to my residence looking like that without first saying, Hey, boss, I'm filthy. I know you wanted me to just drop something off, but is it okay if I go home and shower first? I don't want to come over looking like this. Now that's respectful. And there's been times where I said, no, it's okay. I really got to get this exchanged with you. And there's other times where I said, no, do what you want to do, buddy. Whatever you feel best. And he showed respect to me to come to my home, not looking like a complete bum. When he does come in covered in stuff, you know what he doesn't do? He doesn't sit on my couch. When he comes to the office here, he doesn't sit in the chair that cost $2,000. He doesn't sit in that chair. He sits on the fireplace because he knows he's covered in grease and he can wipe that up if he got a little stain there. Or he just stands because he knows he's covered. Is it easy to make changes? No, it's not. I would be okay with walking in like this saying, what's going on, Mr. Governor? All right, here's the deal, man. We got to talk about all these knuckleheads. We got a Department of Corrections that I could fix about half the problems tomorrow if you just let me get involved. He's going to look at me and think I'm a joke. They're not even going to let me talk to the governor if I show up like this. So if you want to make progress, then you have to make a change. I'm trying to change as a father, as a husband, as a man, as a mentor. And I don't have the old men around anymore. There's only literally two. They're all fading so fast. Who do I go to? What do I got to be the guy to, wait, why is everyone asking me questions? Because I'm turning around looking for, go ask, wait, there's no one there anymore. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah. Oh no. So here's this change. And about every 10 years, a human starts to do almost like a butterfly, metamorphosis where you transform from a cocoon out to a beautiful butterfly. But you can also come out and be horrible. And that's why it has to be a positive growth, positive change. So as I start to change, I realize, wait a second, I want to be a better person, a better father, a better husband. I've had to take my wife aside and start apologizing for things. Whoa. Man, let me tell you something. That's not been easy. It's really uncomfortable. It is. It's very uncomfortable. But I love my wife so much. I would break laws and I would kill anybody that hurt my wife. I love her that much. I know my attorney's going, shut up. He's one of our church members. Would you stop saying that? Liability. That's what he does, by the way. He does a symbol, liability. One day I was like, are you calling me a loser? He's like, no, you're a liability, man. You're a walking liability. So if you ever come around the church, staff members, I'll always see him when I talk sometimes. And now you know it. Oh, hey, he just said something that was liable. No, here's the thing. I'd do anything for my wife. And words are great. I'd do anything for her. Really? You say that? Yep. I said it. I did, Jonathan. Not Archbishop, not Sir Jonathan, not Chairman, not Gangster, not Harley Man, not Mountain Man. None of those guys. None of them. Not Rev. Not the Beast. Not JB. Just Jonathan. And I had to change. And to do that change, I had to apologize. And that's uncomfortable for me. And so the apology is just step one. Step two is now enacting change that lasts so that I don't have to apologize for it again. And you say, well, then why are you getting all over somebody for how they dress? Well, let me tell you something. I've made billions overall for people in this world. But in my personal life, I've made millions. And there's something I learned about making those millions. There's a science to it. I've built churches and everything I've ever touched has just been just bam, takes off. People say, you got the Midas touch. Ah, I do. So what is the touch? It's not a lucky thing. So they say the Irish are lucky. Listen, I'm Irish. I ain't lucky. There's no such thing as luck. Look, There's the little Irishman right there, okay? He's got his fighting fists up. We've been fighting for our life, our whole life. We keep getting invaded, taken over, turned into slaves, kicked out of our country, thrown into other countries, treated as the bottom of the bucket. We've done it all, okay? Every race has gone through it. And there ain't no luckier race than another out there. And there ain't no luckier person than anyone else out there. Let me just simply say it this way. When it comes down to it, success is a system. And if you just repeat it, so you got to know the system. Change is the same way. And that's why it's tough, because I know it's going to hurt. Because, see, I can say I'm sorry to the wife, but now I got to make the change. And if I make the change, it's going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to have to change my shirt. I'm going to have to take off my hat. I'm going to have to put on a different outfit. I'm going to have to dress a different way, and I'm going to have to walk a different way, and I'm going to have to talk, dress, walk, and act a different way if I want those words to line up with my actions. And that is how you get a life partner, man or woman. That is how you become a multimillionaire. That is a system that you can reproduce. There's nothing lucky about it. That's why 9 out of 10 times everything I do succeeds. It's just a simple math. It's a successful system. If you follow it, you succeed. Now you got to know the system and have someone mentored it to you. And that's what this process is. I'm walking through a transformation, and I want you to hear that you're always going to have this. Now you say, great, that means that's wonderful. So once you've got this done, you got your wife and you set, right? Here's the old, I'm going to be a little comical right now. Yeah, you heard it, boys. I got this transformation done. The old wife, she's all put to rest. I put her in her place. Yeah, don't you worry about her. She knows who's bossing this marriage now. Ain't that right, honey? Uh-huh. She said if you didn't hear. Uh-huh. Listen, in about 10 more years, I'm going to be back right here with you. And we're going to have the same conversation. And I'm going to be changing, but it's just something different. It's not going to be the same problem I'm dealing with right now as a person, as a human. It's going to be a different situation. I need to evolve. And so I'm going to be talking smack. And you're going to hear her go, uh-huh. And she's going to be 10 years older. Of course, that's 20 years older technically, because I'm 10 years younger than her. So my point is this. The change never stops. What happens is you're this beautiful butterfly, and then by the time you're done, about a decade, your wings are worn out, beat up. You're no longer a beautiful butterfly. You're back to this creepy crawly thing on the tree that's turning into a cocoon and then coming back and being reborn as a new person. You were a child. And about a decade later, you were reborn into what? Teenager. Oh my God, help us. Then you were finally turned into a decade later, an adult, legally. And then you go through these processes. Then you became a spouse. Then you became a parent. There's these phases, and you change. You become a grandparent. It's a different phase. As a grandparent, it's totally different than being a parent. Night and day. And so much better, by the way. It's the best thing. If I could skip, no, I wouldn't say that. I always used to say, if you could skip being a parent, just go to being a grandparent. But you can't do that, because you got to do the first to get to the second. But there's change, and it's uncomfortable. So I'm uncomfortable. Joseph in the Bible was uncomfortable. So if you want to see success in weights and you want to go out there, yeah, I'm going to get some, baby. Good, go get some. I can give you a workout in 90 days that'll blow your stuff. Ooh. But will you do it? Because it's going to hurt. You're going to tear the muscle. Because if you want your bicep to grow, you got to actually stretch the muscle out and you tear it. The muscle literally goes like this. It's a solid muscle, and then you're stretching it, and it. Now you see the little holes through my fingers? That's your muscle. And then you eat food that's high and rich in proteins, and guess what happens? That muscle gets filled in with strong new muscle. It's solid again, a little stronger. And then you work out again, and you keep stretching, you keep tearing, and then it keeps growing. And that's how your muscle gets big. But each time you tear it, it's going to hurt like a SOB. Oh, Lordy, is it going to hurt? You don't think it hurt when Joseph was put in prison for raping a woman and he never did it? You have no clue what someone goes through when they go through an experience like that. like Joseph. I do. I know those kind of experiences. I work with men every day that go through that. But what did he do? He just took and said, okay, I can handle this. I got this. And he internalized himself. He went and looked inside and evaluated and said, I've got to see the bad. See, that's one of the problems with our political world. All I ever hear is you saying, you, and the other side saying, you. Let me get in your face. Hey, the person saying you're probably the biggest idiot. And so you take both of them, point them at each other and say, both of you are the idiots. What happened to this? I said this to my wife. I said, I'm changing, and I'm not going to care if you do or don't. That's not me, folks. Let me tell you, it is real simple. If I'm changing, so are you. If I'm fixing myself, you better be fixing yourself. If I'm doing the work, I better see you doing the work. Now, that's what I did and have done. It didn't work for my first marriage of 19 and a half years. And I started it on this one. And all of a sudden I realized, I'm using a bad technique that failed. I need a new technique that works. So I have to change. And I can't focus on if my wife's going to change or not. It's not my business. That's between her and God. Trust me, God will put people in your life that will tell my wife, well, hey, you see your husband? Look how amazing he's changed. And if she doesn't make her changes in life, and I'm not saying this like there's a bad way thing, by the way. And by the way, honey, it just means I want more ribs on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thank you. No, I'm kidding. But my point is, if your wife is in a bad place and you're not, God sends people to work that out. Make no mistake. Those kind of people will eventually even fade away from you. Seriously. Stop worrying about everyone else. I stopped worrying about her and said, I'm going to work on me. And the second I stopped even blaming anything to do with anybody, I got into Jonathan and I started saying, whoa, I got to make changes. This is going to hurt. It is. And change is not easy. So as I close, I want you to think about that. I'm talking about transforming. I'm telling you the change is painful. So what is the purpose? Let's learn about that next week. I love you guys so much. I will come to you next week properly dressed so that I can present myself and hopefully show you a transformed person. And it's a never-ending process. So just when you hear me finishing this up, God's going to be working on me somewhere else. And that's what you are going through every day. Right now, you're uncomfortable maybe having to dress up somewhere. Or maybe you're uncomfortable having to lose a little weight because you need to get healthy. Or maybe you're uncomfortable not going out to a bar because people drink and you don't want to. There's a lot of things that are uncomfortable. But I want to encourage you to be wise and learn to stretch like the muscle, not inappropriately. Trust me, you can tear that muscle so much you damage yourself. There is everything in moderation. So let's make sure we're changing properly and not getting too far ahead, but not staying too far behind. And there's that evenly yoked personality we got to look for. I love you guys so much. Facebook world, love you. Goodbye. TCI, Jonathan's Refuge. I love you guys so much. You are the world to me and my wife, the first lady of TCI. She loves you so much. She's sitting right here in the place working on books right now for you guys. And the finances and doing everything she can to keep our church and our group going. We love you guys. For those that donate to our organization, it is a 501c3 nonprofit. We thank you for your donations. They're 100% tax write-offs. And as you know, any donations you make go 100% to the cause, not to any salary of any of us at the company, not any of the people on staff at the nonprofit. All that stuff comes out of mine and Cece's pockets and our hard work. Okay. So if you are a person that says, gosh, I sure would like to give to this organization, your money's going to the cause of our organization. All right. We love you guys. God bless. Take care. One day I'll learn how to do this.